Boy awakened after humanity had been petrified for 3,700 years. Senku was the first person to wake up, so he didn't waste any time and decided to use his scientific knowledge to rebuild civilization. Within just 6 months, he had acquired Stone Age tools, food, shelter, and clothing. But this lifestyle left Senku completely exhausted. He desperately needed a companion, so he decided to revive his best friend Taiju. However, after finding Taiju, Senku ran into a crisis because he had no idea how to reverse the petrification. While Senku was thinking, a bat caught his attention. Following the bat's flight path, Senku discovered a cave. The moment he entered, he smelled a pungent odor. Senku recognized it as something similar to unrefined nitric acid, so he plucked a few strands of hair that hadn't completely depetrified yet to test it out. The next second, the petrification on his hair was instantly reversed. Senku was thrilled. He immediately collected a bottle of the nitric acid solution and poured it on Taiju, but there was no reaction whatsoever. Senku tried multiple times, but the nitric acid still had no effect. With no other choice, he had to push Taiju into the cave and let the nitric acid continuously drip on him. 3 months later, as a drop of nitric acid fell, the statue began to crack. Taiju successfully awakened. However, when he walked out of the cave, Earth's once thriving cities had become a primitive age. Seeing all the petrified humans made him scared. Taiju walked along the riverbank and found the statue of his beloved. Just then, Taiju was amazed to discover writing carved on a tree. Following the text's guidance, he arrived at his destination. There he met Senku, who had awakened first. Senku brought him to the wooden house he had built. Taiju was absolutely shocked. He couldn't believe Senku had made all this by himself.
But before we continue, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new here.
In the days that followed, Senku handled the thinking while Taiju handled the execution. Their work efficiency improved dramatically. To help more people reverse their petrification, Senku brought Taiju to the cave where he had awakened and told him the secret about the liquid. This stuff was like a corrosive agent, but because the concentration was too low, it required long-term dripping. If they had alcohol, it would have a much more significant effect on destroying the statues, because mixing alcohol and nitric acid could create a high-concentration industrial corrosive. After hearing this, Taiju said he knew how to make alcohol. He took out some grapes he had picked and began trying to brew. He stirred the grape juice evenly with a wooden stick, then filtered it through a bamboo sieve, and finally distilled it at high temperature. After an entire winter's worth of effort, they finally created the complete revival formula. They poured it on a swallow. A miracle happened.
If you want to know what happens next, comment part 2.